Scorpio, pause and listen. This isn't just another horoscope, it's an urgent message from fate itself, addressed directly to you. Mark this date in your mind, September 22nd, 2025. On this day, a rare alignment of celestial bodies, including your ruler Pluto, will initiate a forceful push out of your comfort zone. The universe intends to literally wrench you from the shackles of routine, and the reason for this divine intervention is the immense benefit prepared specifically for your sign. This is an exclusive signal you cannot afford to miss, as it will trigger an irreversible transformation of your entire life. Right now, many of you feel trapped in your own underwater realm. Your renowned depths, once brimming with mystery and power, have become a quiet, silted pool. You masterfully control every inch of this space, yet this very control has become your gilded cage, and familiar order, a tranquilizing poison. This is an energetic stasis, a voluntary confinement, where your powerful intuition no longer whispers but screams about an approaching storm, yet your will desperately clings to the illusion of calm. The universe sees this internal struggle and is preparing its decisive move to awaken your true nature. This decisive move adheres to a fundamental law of your nature, which will become absolute on September 22nd. It states, unrealized scorpion power is a poison, slowly destroying its keeper. Your profound strength is meant for total transformation, not for preserving a familiar swamp. By holding it back, you commit a crime against your very essence. Therefore, the universe will issue an ultimatum. Either you voluntarily direct this nuclear reactor of your soul towards creating a new life, or it will initiate an explosion that will raze everything to the ground, only to build something magnificent on the ruins. The initiation of this process will occur through a specific, tangible catalyst. This could be unexpected news, a chance encounter, or even a snippet of someone else's conversation that strikes with laser precision. This external impulse will become the access code to your inner archives, uncovering information you've hidden even from yourself. From this moment, your mask of icy calm will crack, and the pretense of stability will become unbearable. The universe won't just knock on your door, it will break it down, leaving you alone with a truth that to ignore would be tantamount to self-destruction. And this truth will resonate within you not as a logical conclusion, but as a flash of crystalline clarity. Like a powerful electric shock, it will instantly evaporate the fog of self-deception and years of compromises. In the deafening internal silence, only one thought will resound, but it will change everything. Enough. This is the code word, the password, by which the part of your personality that refuses to tolerate stagnation will resurrect. Your inner strategist, your hero, whom you believed long buried beneath the ruins of habit, will open their eyes, and their first command to themselves will be total mobilization of all resources, and these resources won't appear out of nowhere. They are the concentrate of your pain, the distillate of every disappointment and every loss over recent years. Recall the bitterness of betrayals, the weariness from battles that seemed unwinnable, and the profound despair when you felt like giving up. The universe wasn't punishing you, it was forging the blade of your will. Every blow from fate's hammer was not torture, but an alchemical process, transforming the lead of suffering into the gold of indestructible resolve. This reserve of strength, forged in the fire of trials, is the very fuel required for the greatest leap of your life. And this greatest leap isn't merely an escape from the prison of comfort. It's a coronation. The universe is calling you back from the periphery of life to bestow upon you the scepter of power over your own destiny. The incredible reason for this divine intervention is simple. Your magnitude has long outgrown the cage you called your world. You were created not to be an observer, but a co-creator of reality. Therefore, on September 22nd, you will receive an offer you cannot refuse, to become the chief director of your life, where every subsequent scene will be dictated not by fear, but by your indomitable will. But as soon as the light of this new power dawns upon you, your ancient instinct will command you to shut your eyes and retreat back into your familiar dark depths. For there, in your old fortress, everything is predictable. Every enemy is known, every weakness shielded by the armor of total control. And the freedom offered by the universe appears as vulnerability. Your inner critic, poisoned by the venom of past failures, will hiss, "Don't believe it. This is just another illusion," followed by an even more devastating fall. This fear of losing control is the last and most potent weapon of your ego, which will fight for the old order until the very end. But to crush this final adversary, you will be entrusted with your true role, the surgeon of reality. Your mission is not chaotic destruction, but a precise operation to remove everything that has outlived its purpose. Your scalpel will be your sharpened intuition, and the operating table, the very fabric of your life. In this archetype, you are granted the right and the power to see and excise the dead tissues of illusions, the tumors of others' manipulations, and the metastases of your own compromises. This is the highest form of control, where you don't cling to the past, but coolly shape a healthy future. And this is your true destiny. And now you make this first gesture. Not in a fit of anger, but with the icy calm of a decision made. This could be deleting a single file symbolizing years of compromise, or silently pressing block on a contact that was a source of toxic hope. This is not merely an action, it's a ritual. A physical confirmation of the internal verdict passed on your old life. In this moment, you don't just burn bridges, you vaporize the very possibility of their existence. The point of no return has been crossed, and the universe registers your choice. Act 1 is complete, and now before you, an operating field opens, divided into 3 key sectors. First, the Valley of Relationships, where the main challenge is to distinguish a living, nourishing connection from its artfully embalmed corpse, which you habitually continue to resuscitate. Second, the Mountain of Career, where you must stop climbing someone else's peak, realizing that your true summit lies in an entirely different dimension. And third, the River of Finances, where the task is to blow up the dams of fear that have turned the flow of money into a stagnant swamp and forge a new, abundant channel. You are to conduct this triple operation simultaneously and without anesthesia. In the Valley of Relationships, your scalpel must be particularly precise, for the main enemy here is not open hostility, but an artful imitation of life. This is a zombie connection. Outwardly, everything seems correct, but it emanates the cold of energetic emptiness. Logic and shared memories will deceive you, for this union has an excellent case history. Your only infallible diagnostician is your deep intuition. Trust that icy draft you feel where warmth should be. This is the verdict, and your task is not resuscitation, but a clean, hygienic amputation for the sake of the entire organism. Next is the Mountain of Career, and this ascent is significantly more perilous. Here, your enemy is not someone else's summit, but your own reflection within it. You spent years transforming yourself into a perfect key, only to now realize you were trying to open the wrong door. To abandon this would be to devalue titanic effort and sacrifices made. Your strategy: stop measuring success by height, start measuring it by resonance. Conduct a total energetic audit, asking one question of every action. Does this multiply my inner strength, or does it pay for someone else's ambitions? This is a paradigm shift from conqueror to alchemist, who seeks not gold on the mountain, but the philosopher's stone within themselves. And finally, the River of Finances, an arena where fear takes its densest, most material form. Here, your enemy is not poverty, but the panic-stricken terror of it, which compels you to build dams of frugality and control. But these dams have blocked the very flow. Your paradoxical move as a surgeon is not to fortify defenses, but to perform an act of conscious financial bloodletting. Release a portion of what you cling to with a death grip, not out of pity, but as a strategic sacrifice. This gesture will prove that your spirit is no longer a slave to matter, and it is this that will open the floodgates to true abundance. But as soon as you find yourself amidst this self-made chaos, alone with the consequences of your decisions, a guide will be introduced into your reality. They will appear not as a savior, but as a navigator. This could be a casual conversationalist whose phrase becomes a key to a locked door of consciousness, or a book that literally falls into your hands. This ally is a direct consequence of your resolve, a materialized answer from the higher powers to your first bold step. They could not have appeared sooner, for maps are only given to those who have already ventured into the open sea. Their sole purpose is to confirm that your internal compass does not lie and that you are moving in the right direction. And this navigator will transmit to you a dual code bequeathed by your planetary rulers. Pluto, master of the underworld, will whisper, "Fear not the ash. Fear that which refuses to burn." This is not a justification for destruction, but an absolute right to sterility, to create a clean space, free from the infections of the past. Mars, god of action, will command, "Emptiness is not a vacuum, but a canvas." Every next step you take is the first stroke of a new painting. This dual key is your main weapon against the despair that will inevitably attempt to fill the created void with old fears. It is in this pristine emptiness, crafted by your own hands, that the most seductive call will resound, the song of your shadow self. It will whisper that merely severing is not enough. You must punish. Make them pay for every drop of your pain, for every year of stagnation. This is the greatest trap on your path, the substitution of creation with retribution, an attempt to build a new world on the foundation of old grievances. This siren lures you not to freedom, but into an endless cycle of settling scores, where you, the surgeon, risk forever remaining the executioner of your own past, chained to the corpses you yourself dissected. And in this moment, when you reject the call for vengeance, the ice will break with a deafening, almost suspicious ease. Obstacles that seemed monolithic will crumble to dust. Toxic connections will sever on their own, without drama. The right doors will open before you even have a chance to knock. This is not a reward, Scorpio. This is the most sophisticated test, the temptation of quick results. The universe lulls your vigilance, checking if your spirit will be content with a cosmetic repair where a complete overhaul was declared. This is an advance, granted not for celebration, but to test whether you will trade your great future for momentary relief. And so, on the night of October 8th, a blood full moon in Aries will cast a crimson glow upon your operating field, concluding the period of easy victories. This astrological trigger will activate the second bottom of your reality, exposing the true, deeply entrenched roots of problems you hadn't noticed before. The universe, convinced of your resolve, withdraws the anesthesia and raises the stakes to the maximum. From this moment, the choice is no longer between old and new. It is between a total reconstruction of your personality and complete annihilation. The easy path no longer exists, only the surgical one. And the first price on this path will be something unthinkable. You will have to amputate your beloved pain. That noble wound which for years served as both your justification and a source of secret pride. This internal narrative about your unfair fate became the backbone of your identity, your ironclad alibi for every instance of inaction. To relinquish it means to voluntarily strip yourself of the status of a victim of circumstances, and that is far more terrifying than losing a job or ending a toxic relationship. The universe demands that you kill within yourself not an enemy, but your most loyal, albeit poisonous ally, your own story of suffering. And once this last bastion falls, you will be met not with relief, but with the deafening silence of an existential vacuum. You will be left naked, stripped of your main legend, and into this breach will pour all the ghosts of the past. Their chorus will be unanimous: you made a mistake. That pain was the only thing that made you real. This is a point of absolute zero, where self-belief evaporates, and the grand goal seems like a grandiose, cruel joke. It will seem as if the operation failed, the surgeon killed the patient, leaving only an empty shell on the table, devoid of history and meaning. It is here, in this silent torture chamber, that the primal horror of Scorpio overtakes you, the horror of non-existence. Not the fear of death, but the fear of complete disappearance while alive, of becoming a ghost whose presence no longer alters the density of reality. Do not fight, do not seek an exit. Simply breathe in this emptiness, for in the deepest darkness, when even the stars of memory fade, you will grope for the one thing that cannot be amputated, the tiny, unquenchable spark of your divine self. This is your nuclear zero, the point from which the creation of a new world will begin. Act 2 is complete, and through this resonant emptiness, like an echo from another world, the words of your navigator emerge. Emptiness is not a vacuum, but a canvas, a flash of enlightenment. You were fighting the wrong enemy. You tried to escape the vacuum, not realizing that it was precisely the goal of the entire operation, a perfectly sterile field for creation. The horror of non-existence is replaced by the artist's thrill before a blank page. A new strategy is born, not to plan, but to listen. Not to remember, but to create. To use the wisdom of ash not for mourning, but as knowledge of which colors will never again appear on your palette. And your first stroke on this canvas is not a timid line, but a powerful vector, directed deep within yourself. Your goal is not to paint a new landscape, but to find the light source for it. You begin the hunt for your inner black sun, a super-dense cluster of your true will, capable of transforming the darkness of non-existence into the matter of a new destiny. This is that incredible reason for divine intervention, not merely to grant you freedom, but to bestow upon you the right and the technology to ignite your own luminary, which will henceforth illuminate your path and define the laws of physics in your personal universe. This hunt is not a search, but a synthesis. You stop searching for your black sun and begin to become it. You summon all the ghosts from the burned past, amputated pain, the echo of emptiness, the ashes of grievances, not for judgment, but for integration. They are no longer demons, but pure concentrated experience. Every learned lesson, every severed illusion converges into a single point within you, creating a super-dense core. This is the final act of internal alchemy, where you cease to be a person with a history and become the gravitational center of your own universe, ready for the final leap, the birth of a star from absolute zero. And here it is, the final frontier, the ultimate choice that will determine the trajectory of your new universe. To return to the role of a brilliant prisoner who has perfectly studied their prison and calculated every move within its walls, or to embrace the mantle of a sovereign whose will now becomes the very law of physics. This is not a choice between light and darkness. You have long mastered both spectra. This is a choice between power over a dead past and the power to create a living future. To become a guardian of ash or a source of flame, the decision is yours, and it will be etched into eternity. And you choose the flame. But at that very second, from the deepest recesses of your being, the final enemy arises, the icy whisper of absolute doubt. You are an imposter, a king of ashes, a deity ruling over nothing. Your strength is merely an echo of your pain, and this throne is built on the ruins of what you once loved. This is not an attack, it's a virus, aimed directly at the core of your newborn will. And you respond not with a counter-argument, but with an act of creation. You direct the entire gravity of your black sun not towards destroying this phantom, but towards the birth of the first law of physics in your new universe. Doubt is not defeated, it simply ceases to exist within the density of being you have created. And the world responds, not with applause, but with the silence of acknowledgement. Your inner civil war is over. You are no longer a legion of conflicting desires, but a monolithic will that has found its center of gravity. You stop breaking down walls, you simply walk through them, because in your new physics, they no longer exist. This is true sovereignty, not the ability to win someone else's game, but the right to establish your own rules. You have reclaimed what was stolen at birth, the unity of purpose, will, and action. Your new starting point is a life without resistance. The world no longer divides into obstacles and goals, but becomes a single energetic field, responding to the slightest vibrations of your will. You stop solving problems. You begin to emanate a state in which they simply cannot arise. Instead of fighting for a place in the sun, you become the gravitational center yourself, attracting the orbits of events and people you need. This is your new reality, not a conquered territory, but an internally created ecosystem where every element serves your design. Now, your daily tuning fork, your operating code, sounds like this. I do not react to reality, I am its cause. This is not an affirmation for self-conviction, but a command that calibrates your field. An act of asserting a new physics, where the external world is merely a precise, unquestioning echo of your internal state. And remember, September 22nd was merely an initiation. The universe will not leave a player of your rank in peace. It is already preparing a new great game where the stake will not be the survival of personality, but the co-creation of entire realities. Your journey has only just begun.